Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. Right, so Vision Deep Dive is out, and before the deep dive I was incredibly hyped for this character. After the deep dive I'm slightly more cautious, but definitely still absolutely hyped for this character, because in the deep dive we definitely could see quite a lot of limitations or barriers put onto her abilities, which is natural because what we saw initially seems absolutely bonkers and broken. And I do still worry about her rotations or the best matchups for her or length of the best matchups for her. But we're gonna get to all of that. There is ton to love about the champion though. So first things first, obviously she's a robot, so advanced robotics provide full immunity to poison and bleed. Additionally, while she has armor up effects, Viv is immune to nullify and fate seal. So that already for a tech champion is quite a huge thing, being able to ignore buffet nodes, power snack, a whole bunch of different things. We all know how successful Omega Sentinel is, primarily relying on this ability plus a combination of her other abilities, and Vision has this too, so I absolutely love that. Also, Viv starts each fight with 16 indefinite armor buffs, each increasing her armor rating by 168. If they are removed, they restore themselves one at a time, each taking 10 seconds, which is quite important, which is also one part of my concerns, because it takes 10 seconds for one to reform, and that is going to be important for her rotation, because she uses these armor ups later on as a currency. Also, if a medium or light attack strikes Viv, she power drains 6% of opponent's current power, so she's going to be very annoying to go up against as a defender because of this and maybe a couple of other abilities. But yeah, if you hit her, you're going to start losing your power, which is not cool. Which is not cool. Also, solar energy. Viv starts each fight with 1 solar energy. Every 4 seconds she gains another if she has less than 5. And this is much better time window to gain these solar energies, because it's also going to be extremely vital to her base loops, more or less. And that is important because when you parry, you're going to be able to trigger your miss mechanic, but you can only really re-trigger it once you use your solar energy. And in order to use your solar energy, you're going to need to finish a combo with a light or a medium hit. If you finish it with a light, you're going to get suppression. If you're going to finish it with medium, I believe you're going to get heal block, maybe other way around. But that is going to be super important. And in normal instances, you should be pretty kind of fluid with that. Here we can see that she's immune to fate seal, which is definitely quite important. She does have access to this suppression debuff, which again doesn't last too long, but initially is paused for a bit. And it is reducing opponent's combat power rate quite effectively. I think this combat power rate reduction of the opponent in combination with her power drain abilities when opponent misses is going to make her quite aggressive, capable champion offensively. So as I said before, she can consume 1 solar energy either to apply that suppression or a heal block passive, which is quite important. And here we go, phasing. When we would perform a well-timed block, she has a 125% chance to instead gain a phase passive for 1 second, causing the incoming attacks to miss. This ability can't be used again until Viv consumes solar energy, which again means if you have enough solar energies, which recovering every 4 seconds pretty much, you more or less will be able to do this every single time if you finish your combos fully. Also, when attack misses, Viv, she instantly power drains 30% of opponent's current power. This can only happen once each time she phases, and this is very powerful. This is definitely a very, very powerful ability, which I look forward to testing out. Also, the heavy attacks, the first hit removes up to 3 prowesses from the opponent. If any prowess are removed, she gains 1 solar energy. The final hit consumes 1 solar energy to inflict a burst of damage, increased by each prowess removed. But it's kind of important to note that she does have this prowess countering capability as well if she does happen to go against mutants, which is definitely going to be quite handy there. Right. And then another important thing to note, and this is going to be like a bigger drawback, because her damage, just like Omega Sentinel's damage, is tied to Incinerates. Now, she doesn't place Incinerate debuffs on the opponent, but that level 1 burst damage, which is going to be a major source of her damage, is Incinerate damage. Against mutants, it is classed as Plasma, just like Meg Sentinel, but she will have effectively the same weakness as a Meg Sentinel does. That means if you go up against an Incinerate immune champion, it's going to be a lot rougher. It's going to be a lot rougher to do so. And moving on, so if she activates her level 1 whilst the opponent is under 1 bar of power, then opponent gains no power from that level 1, and that level 1's also unblockable. So that could be quite problematic fighting against her, where you basically all the time need to make sure that you're over 1 bar of power, or, you know, as often as possible. Otherwise, it could get quite problematic quite fast. That being said, here is where I start to worry most about your vision. And that is her level 2. So her level 2, well, first things first, that's quite annoying, is that you need to tap block during level 2 at the ideal times just before you connect your hits. To convert your armor ups into solar energy, one level 2 can give you up to 15 solar energy. That's very important because that is how you do her loop. Her loop is effectively get to level 2, use it, and then you can spam like 3 level 1s in a row. But in order to get that solar energy on your level 2s, you do not only need to precisely tap your screen, you will also be effectively eating up your armor buffs. So if you tap everything correctly, you're going to be converting 15 armor buffs into solar energy, which means that it would take 150 seconds for those armor buffs to reform. So it is not something that you can do and then build up again and do again and again and again. It means that it has very significant heavy time limit on it. 150 seconds is a long time. It's half a minute longer than an entire Balion's fight, for instance. So there, the entire question is, will that rotation finish the fight, even against rougher opponents, or what happens afterwards? So this is where definitely I can see some problems happening, because if you eat up your armor ups, they reform, you know, 1 at a time every 10 seconds. You need 15 to kind of like fully repeat the process. It's kind of a long time. So that immediately puts massive limitations to the matchups that you can use with Vision in. Obviously, it all depends on the reach based on her, you know, rank and level, and that's why a lot of kind of like in-game practical testing is 1000% going to be necessary. But here we again can see her armor ups are getting converted into the solar energy. Here she's remaining with 3 basically, but she ate up what, 13 in this example here, and again that would mean that it takes 130 seconds for that to reform over 2 minutes. So the base idea is, yeah, level 2 and then spam level 1s. And this is her level 3 looks quite cool though. And her level 3 does give her basically a permanent fury buff, which had a couple of additional side effects. I'm not 1000% sure what they were at the time. And then we have the Sig ability, which allows her to gain energy vulnerability dormant effects, and then you can activate them basically with your level 1s and deal significantly more damage as well. So I do think she will have to be awakened, because I believe those energy vulnerabilities will be able to basically double the energy damage, because each of them are 20% and you can stack up to 5 of them, and that is going to be quite a noticeable increase in her damage for sure. So that's Will Vision. I like a lot of stuff in there, and I'm worried for some other stuff. Ultimately, I'm still excited because there's still several ways of power controlling. There is still power gain, there is still passive heal block, and there is tons of phasing. Unblockable level 1 spam as well on top of it. I do see a ton of potential for this champion. But I do think she's definitely going to be significantly more limited in the type of encounters or places or quests or situations you end up using her. Additional great surprise here was immunity to nullify, which I am very happy to see. And that alone, with the immunities, I think, makes for a solid base on a champion. Let's move on. So this is quite interesting synergy, where once per quest, you can activate one of the 3 pre-fights that you can use, that any other hero champion can benefit from. And you basically reduce opponents' incoming ability accuracy reduction, or you can reduce their non-damaging debuff duration, or you can reduce that power drain or burn effects by 40%. And it's a synergy with herself, so basically it's just something that she will be able to do once per quest. I always like neat, quirky abilities like this. It could be helpful for Alliance War in specific situations to combat some, reduced ability accuracy nodes or something. I think it's cool. I like it. Also, that non-damaging debuff duration, it's also not too bad. That's how it looks like in the fight. And this one is funny. I will save her. I think this one is the coolest or cutest synergy, where it's basically overprotective dads of Will Vision. So when Will Vision doesn't participate in a fight, her father repairs her. At the start of her next fight, she gains a self-repair buff, regenerating 10% of her max health over 20 seconds. Buff is removed if Viv is stunned. So every time you're not using Viv, she can get a 10% health benefit from Visions. And also, the second bit is kind of what got me and actually got a chuckle out of me, is where Vision and Vision Age of Ultron gain 0.5% of attack rating for each % of Viv's missing health, unless Viv is knocked out. Counts highest health for one team. So basically, if you enter a fight with Viv Vision and you finish that fight with 20%, means that 80% of health is missing, then Vision gets 40% attack rating increase. So it situationally can be decent synergy, but I just like the premise behind it, where the dad gets mad when the daughter gets damaged. So I did kind of find it funny, and I can appreciate a bit of that. Definitely like this synergy. I don't think it's the greatest synergy in the world, but I think it's quirky and cool, and I like it. Okay, so go for champions. Synergy champions gain 5% attack rating for each unique synergy member on the team. It's fine. And then Viv, once per quest, after expending her pre-fight, Viv can gain additional use by winning a fight. So this can let her use her pre-fight, multiple times in a quest. Neat. And where is it? Valkyrie, Venom, Vision, Void, Vulture synergy. Personal buffs and debuffs gain 10% potency. Yeah, it's neat. It's nothing too crazy or special, but it's not bad. And this is probably the more potent synergy. So advanced use of holograms grant 5% chance to evade, increased by 2% flat for each active solar energy. Does not trigger while blocking or phasing. So Viv gets kind of a very weird, quirky, cool holographic evade mechanic. And Mysterio, illusion gas, power drain, potency, and chance to cause miss are increased by 4% flat and 10% flat respectively. Neat, for Mysterio, but that's about it. And that's it for Viv Vision. So as I said, there's definitely a lot to love about her. That special spam 1 still can be incredibly potent. She will, be power draining opponents when she's phasing, so she can be like super aggressive. She's going to be gaining power like that as well, so she can access her rotations quicker. It's just, again, I'm quite worried about that armor consumption thing and regaining those armor ups, and how actively you can engage her core loop to begin with. But ultimately, what this will come down to is if she's capable of doing majority of the fights in one rotation. Realistically speaking, if 6-star rank 4 with Vision can KO majority of the champions or all the champions in Battlegrounds or Alliance War in one rotation. If she can, great. She's going to be good, no doubt about it. If she can't, then we need to look into further what happens after, how she plays when she can't use her core loop. What do you do? Do you spam level 1s? Do you spam level 2s? Or how does it work exactly? So all of that remains to be seen once playtesting, but I'm still hopeful. Let me know what you guys think about Viv Vision, and I'm going to catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information